most famously the restoration of Leiria Castle, which is pretty awesome if you've ever been there. Right, let's give him a nice big round of applause and bring him onto the screen and see if we're having a wander between the raindrops. Beautiful day in Pedrógão Grande, Paul.
Bom dia, todos.
Olá, bom dia.
Yes, it's weather report. I'm stood in the outside auditorium underneath some shading, so not from the sun. There's a slight drizzle. What happens here? I'm stood in Pedrógão Grande, and between Pedrógão Grande and Pedrógão Pequeno, there is the river Zezere, which is one of Portugal's homegrown rivers, and all year round it gets fog on it overnight. I presume the water's warmer than the air or whatever happens. And today there's a slight breeze blowing at Pedrógão Pequeno, where I started. Is clear, and you come over the dam, over the bridge, and you get this side, and there's a sort of billowing fog creeping up the hill. But so be it. It's been happening.
Wow.
It's been happening since Roman times, I'm sure.
Yes. You would have heard the sandaled feet of centurions coming through the fog, maybe back in the day, and now you're probably something a little bit more practical on your feet this morning. As you take us for a wander. So you are in the amphitheatre, staying with the Roman concept there. I thought we were looking at a muddy river, a churned river, but that's the terracotta of the. Or are we looking at a muddied river here? Are you riverside there?
No, I'm stood in the park.
Oh, okay. I've been there. Yes, it's a beautiful little spot, isn't it?
Which has got a lot of mature trees in it. It's fantastic, actually. And
yes.
In the summer, everybody piles out here because it's shady, and it's always very neat and tidy. At the moment, it's still got some Christmas decorations up, so it's still shining at night. And
lovely.
Decorations are always very elegant in this town. They seem to have a slight sort of I don't know. Whoever designs them obviously have pressed the slightly superior button.
Okay, not your gaudy display that you sometimes see.
Not sort of fat reindeer and stuff. It's very
tasteful.
Down to the camera municipal that is appearing in front of us through the bridges. I mean, it's a very nice setting. It's a lovely old camera building.
Yep, remember it.
It sort of overlooks the park. I don't know what was here before, but who cares? It's this has clearly been planted at least 100 years ago.
And it feels like the centre of the town, doesn't it, Paul? As I recall now, in some Portuguese cities, I'm thinking of Ucal das Terrenia, you don't know, it's like a higgledy-piggledy development. In a smaller town like this, they've thought about it, haven't they? And I remember that park really feeling like the centre of things. And then when you've got your camera overlooking it, it's like, yes, this is where things begin in this place.
Yeah, it is interesting where you get either 2 or 3 centres.
Yes.
Or there's sort of none at all. Here is a focal point, and people come, sit and have their lunch here and whatever. I'm sure it wasn't the medieval centre, because that looking at the road layout would be up where I walk up there, up where all the roads converge, and then I think they built the camera at the side of it, and then in front of the park it was probably a car park for a while or something. So there was the visits to the camera by Sampaio in March 2000, who was the President of the Republic, and we're voting for a new one soon.
Nice
the other President of the Republic was Cavaco Silva, our boy from the Algarve. So, you mentioned Vila Real earlier, and the hotel, the extraordinary hotel and the architecture.
Yes.
In Vila Real Sant Antonio, which has been done up recently, hasn't it?
I believe so. I think Veronica did say that. And our man Ernesto Corrodi from Switzerland, but fell in love with Portugal, the country, and a woman here as well.
Yeah, well, yes. This is what
made his life.
The hotel really was a landmark. When it was built, it was a landmark. There's nothing like it. And it was designed, from memory, it was designed for, say, commercial travellers for business use. It was pre-tourism. and it was travellers coming over from Spain, probably by boat then, but probably by rowing boat. And it was just a landmark. I was so pleased to see it being done up. It must be 10 years ago now, I would think.
That's good to know. And interestingly, he was doing his work, I suspect, around the turn of the 20th century. He was born in 1870, so he would have picked up and run with the Marquês de Pombal's design and footprint of Villarreal de Santo Antonio, because I think the Marquês was given that, was he not, as one of his gifts for renovating. I think renovation is probably too small a word for Lisbon after the earthquake, but
Yeah.
yes, he was given an Algarve seat as well, and then Corrodi, centuries later, was able to do the work you speak of. It's amazing, isn't it? These interesting characters throughout history, both of those this morning. And who's the notable in Pedrógão Grande? What historical references have we got over there?
Well, too many to mention.
Right.
I can't think of one that was a great politician or a great architect. But Pedrógão Grande really is. It's solid. It's always been solid. It was in Roman times. It's just over the river, so it's a key. I'd say trading post. It's agricultural. It has produced, resin, timber, textiles. It's a good, solid, rooted Portuguese town. It's not a tourist town, even though tourism is growing because the market is growing around it. But it's just got that sense of rootedness and history and connection with its surround.
Yes.
And it is solid. It's a very different feel to many other towns that don't seem to adapt and adopt change too easily. Pedrógão, it's not driving anything. It's here, and change is happening around it, and it's welcoming. It's getting more tourism. There's more property development. There's one behind me here that's for sale now. So substantial old family home.
It looks like there's a bit of an exponential uplift, because this has been steadily going on, hasn't it? And foreigners have seen the potential and thought, yeah, there's some good value here, and it's a beautiful place, and it's lovely and peaceful. But that's that. Yeah. Are we going into the hockey stick now of interest in places such as Pedrógão Grande? Do you think?
Yeah, you're right about foreigners buying, but it's not just foreigners. There's plenty of Portuguese investment goes on quietly behind doors. The sound of power drills happening, and councils are doing more and more work. Here is a lovely old building that is now the Biblioteca, where they've taken great care to put in. That they've got wooden windows. It's beautifully presented in one of their old streets, Octubre 5 Street. And you've got lovely old buildings here. I happen to know that this one's lived in. And the one I showed you up there is the same family historically, the one beyond the little museum, which is now for sale. And this was now they were two brothers, grandfathers of the current owners, who made a mint in agriculture, in trading for the area. And they built two substantial houses. One they allowed to fall down. Well, the grandchildren allowed to I wouldn't say fall down, but it's in a very poor state. And the other one is lived in happily and is in extremely good state. I did ask the owner of the good house why the other one had been allowed to fall into disrepair. Oh, yeah. And he said it's very simple. We wanted to put it on the market, and it's the first time the two sides of the family have spoken to each other for 40 years.
No way.
There's been some thawing. Well, you know what families are like. But it does mean these old buildings are coming on the market. And I say it would be arrogant to say that it's only foreigners looking at them. When buying, I have to compete against all nations, which is fine, which, pushes the price up for the happy seller. But so there is development. People are looking at tourist accommodation. They're looking at more boutique hotels, which this town lacks. So it's an interesting stage of development, but everything's quite calm. It's a town where things don't happen fast, but it's not to say they're being slowed down deliberately. It's a calm, measured place. It's not a place to buy and sell and make a buck. It's a place to invest and build, and look at long-term value and cash generation. So there's a lot of people investing in, say, tourism projects. It could be a logement local, or a mini hotel. I mean, logement local, the property that I think we've featured before in Pedrógão Pequeno, Casa Adelina, has been sold, and that's to somebody who will run it as an alojamento local, short-term rental, because of its location near the river, near Pedrógão Grande. So it's
well, congratulations on that. That's great to hear. Casa Adelina has gone into the hands of somebody who appreciates the place and doing something great with it, and that means other people can stay there as well now, having seen it on the show.
Well, it does. We're just saying that because it's AL, we're doing some final touches, and I'm really pleased I didn't put a kitchen in, because an AL kitchen is a lot different to if it was a retiring Dutch couple, for example, or a family with lots of kids.
Yes, for example.
Because then you have the work services higher. There's all sorts of
yes, of course.
Of course. In AL, you want a extra wine fridge, smaller freezer, wine space. So it's just small tricks like that. So we're getting that into shape.
Which is a very nice clue to the how diligent you are in meeting your customers' needs. So when working for Dutch giants, they have a higher worktop installed compared to other mere mortals.
They do.
It's very quiet there, Paul. It's very quiet this morning. Is that normal? This is a quiet day, or is it because it's raining?
It's a combination, but most people are in the cafe at the moment.
Yes, quite right too.
Cafe time before work.
Yes.
Work is pretty much 9 o'clock here. Camera, etc. is 9 o'clock, not 8:30. So and the church is shut because nobody wants to pray at this time of day. Pray for some good weather.
All those prayers haven't been answered, it would appear.
No, they clearly haven't been answered. Well, fresh falta, as they say. But I think the barrage ends are full now, even in the Algarve. So I think.
Yes, even in the Algarve. The coach is pleased to see you this morning. Bom dia, Campos e Feliz Carta. Great to hear Paul's dulcet tones and hear about what's going on. What's the community like in Pedrógão Grande? I think you said a little bit about that in terms of how mixed it is and how there's an international touch. People from all over. The United Nations of Portugal are there. The existing population, it sounds like quite a conservative place in the best possible way. Tasteful design, a good eye for tradition and heritage. What's the local community like? How would you describe Pedrógão Grandians, or however the Grandienses or Pedrógãoenses?
It's a bit like Greece, where everyone's related.
Okay.
Everyone's a cousin. Everybody knows everyone. If you put if God forbid, if you slag somebody off privately, it'll get round because everybody is connected by family, and the families go back. Families go back centuries. The camera is tolerated, and it's kind of a business as usual place. It's the attitude of, well, we've seen things come and seen things go, but let's just carry on and get on with stuff. So it is, it's very, it's not calm to the point of being soporific, but it's quite quietly confident. And it's seen through. A lot of people think, Pedrógão Grande, the fires of 2017, and the very sad fires that killed a lot of people. But that was Pedrógão Grande because it was in the municipality. It was actually in Nordorinho. What's that? 5 miles up the road. It started.
Yeah.
But again, it's not shrug and forget it. It's pray for the departed and get on.
Yes, very interesting.
Make sure everything's trimmed back. Let's stick to the rules that existed anyway about clearance of pathways, clearance around villages. Let's just try and make it safer. And there was a small fire here in the summer, not in Pedrógão Grande, but on the banks of the Zezere, actually. And I've never seen so much air support appear out of nowhere. It was extraordinary.
Yeah, as you might expect, And so quietly confident and almost not invisible, but just very, very self-effacing and getting on with it. And a little bit of a warning, perhaps, to newcomers who come in and think it's quiet and deserted, and they think, "Oh, I'll get a building here and I'll do it up." You're working against invisible forces, perhaps, as well. You're not. It's not ostentatious at all, is it? But that shouldn't be mistaken for not being. Not caring about what incomers might come in and do in a showy, offy sort of way. You might meet some resistance if you come in with plans that are too bold.
It doesn't suit show-offs here. No, it really doesn't. You know,
right.
There are no new Porsches. There are no new cars. It's the sort of place in the UK where people would have a 20-year-old Volvo estate and potter around.
Volvo. Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, it's not country bumpkins. There's some sharp people in this town, believe me.
Yes.
But it's not. It wouldn't suit people who would like to be in Villamora, for example, or some of the flashy resorts in the Algarve. Absolutely wouldn't like it here at all.
And that's not to say it's without.
Wondering what
there are great restaurants, aren't there? I remember a beautiful restaurant there.
There's El Ferrador you probably went in, which is fantastic for regional food. And there's they call it the Burger Bar. It actually does a lot more than that. It's a very tastefully done restaurant owned by a local guy, actually from Serta, who's just reopened the landmark cafe in Serta down by the river, and it's absolutely fantastic. It takes an old cafe with a TV blaring on the wall into this century with a bang, and everybody's delighted about it.
Is that the big one by the river at Serta? That's
a new Carvalho. It just sits there on its own by the river. Beautiful location.
Yeah,
I think, but it was lacking in oomph. I would say.
Yes, no. I was there about 6 months ago. What a lovely location! What a lovely town that is as well. So all sorts of wonderful things happening in a quite quiet, non-showy, offy way. Where are we now? I've seen this building before, I think.
Well, you would have done well to, because it's well tucked away up a road you can't drive all the way down. This is the new church. I think it was new in 1611. And well, this is the one that just down this road we get to the convergence of three key roads: Rua Rica, Rua Misericordia, and Rua 5 de Outubro. And that was at least a square, Largo de Restauração, and that's where one of Rural Properties' houses is, just coming into view with the grey band. The Rural Properties Albergaria de São Pedro was a church-run hostel, and the church was next to it, or in this square, and was knocked down and moved to the one we just walked past, and moved obviously in the early 1600s. So it's quite, you get a sense of the history. And behind me now is the property we're working on.
Yeah.
I went to the windows in the window shop yesterday, which will be delivered and installed in the third week. So once that's done, you can see there above the front door, they nicked some of the detailing from the old church.
Yes. We have looked at this property, haven't we? It's
I
amazing.
think we have,
Yes.
You may ask me how I know all this. Pedrógão Grande has an extremely wonderful archivist who just knows stuff, as she should. And she sits in an office, not in the camera, just around the side of it, and is surrounded by old documents, books, things written on vellum, because the town had its foral, so it became a market trading town in the very early 1200s, so it's kind of been around, and there's never been a fire, so that has destroyed documents like Serta, where everything went up in flames in the early 1900s.
Wow.
Yeah, it's why a Serta camera is a sort of Art Deco masterpiece, because it was had to be rebuilt. But here, no, the archives here, if anyone's interested in history, and I send people to the archivist if they bought something here, saying, "Oh, go along and see her," and it will give you the history of your street, of your house. It's good. It's a really nice thing to
That
be
is
able.
lovely, isn't it? And
Yeah,
again,
it
just
is.
quietly going on, nothing showy about it. She's just quietly doing her work, and very helpful if you alert her to what you're doing there.
Yeah, exactly. And her husband owns one of the estate agents here, so between them, they know a thing or two.
Yeah, of course. How lovely. How
About
lovely.
what goes on. So yeah, in summary, quietly confident, growing. It's a good place to invest, not to sort of buy and flip.
Right.
Although, I mean, you could say I get accused of that sometimes, but the building behind me is a serious investment, and we're completely redesigning the inside to bring it into this century. Otherwise, it would sit there and fall in. So there's a bit of rescue about it, as well as
What are you getting accused of? That you're going to just come in and do something up and move on?
Yeah, but buying, it's that awful word flipping that I hate.
Yes.
And it's sort of, but buy something cheap from an old widow, coat of paint, new kitchen, and bang it out and make 50 grand. It's not
That's
that
not
sort
how
of
rural properties doesn't really work like that, does it? As far as I'm aware.
No, it doesn't. No, because it's the same amount of effort to create something of interior architectural beauty and wonderment. It's the reason that Lady bought Casa Adelina, was the mixture of old and new, the
Yes.
respect for the tradition of the building and its stance overlooking the square, rather than sort of papering over the cracks, if you like.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
it's good.
Well,
It's good to see that.
thank you
Yeah,
so
it's good.
much for this tour. And it's raining as you walk. Is it? You need to get into a cafe and get dry, don't you?
No, it's a sort of drizzle. I took my glasses off because they were getting spotted, but it's the when this fog blows away, above it is sunshine. That's the way I look at it, Skipper.
Okay. Good. Excellent. Excellent. It looks like you've got your wax jacket on. It is a wax jacket town. Volvos, wax jackets, and wellies, I think, is to sum it up briefly there.
Indeed. Yeah,
Yes.
indeed. I could put my barber hat on. It's not quite that bad. I could do, but then I would look like I should be on an estate in Hampshire.
Yes, we're up to get a brace of pheasants.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
How many people live there?
2,000.
So population of 2,000. Okay. And it's not too late. You can get into Pedrógão Grande. There are still properties to buy and develop to be part of this wonderful atmosphere, if that's your cup of tea.
Yeah, there are. I mean, it's the sort of place where if you drive around, yes, there's a few for sale boards up. There's far more properties for sale than there are for sale boards up.
Yes, as is usually the case.
Yeah, I'm in a position now where people, what's the phrase? Tip me the wink. If something's coming.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't stepped out of their house to ask you whilst you're wandering around if you want to buy. I bet it does. I bet it does.
I mean, one of the buildings we've walked past today, I might look at purchasing in the near future, but even on your show, I'm not going to say which one, because news travels fast in these parts.
Of course it does. Yes,
I haven't done the deal yet. But,
you'll be surprised. Okay, well, that's lovely.
A lot more for sale than meets the eye.
I'm sure, as ever.
Yeah. So once I think it is as ever. It's certainly the case in villages where we've done a house, and I've asked, what else is for sale? Nothing. And then you're there a few weeks and get to know the locals, and then suddenly, my cousin's selling a house, and we're selling our third home. And he said, I did that in Valderio near Grande, where there are 36 houses, and we were working on one. And nothing else for sale. By the time I'd finished, there were 6 properties I could have bought. which is just people sort of sidling up and saying, "Just thinking of buying another one. May I offer you?" Yeah, it is quite interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, but people need to think about it.
It is. It is. And
property here it's not the big rush it is in the north of Europe, because there's no inheritance tax. People end up with 3 or 4 houses, or 5 or 6 or 10 or 15, and they're more a burden than an opportunity. So if you say to them, "I'll buy that one," yeah, okay, hadn't really thought about it, but give me a price. So it's just not, there's not this focus on it. There's not this level of mortgage and intensity, because a lot of houses are just passed on for free. No tax. They sit there. If you're not earning enough to do the maintenance, then they sort of fall down over time. And they'll do for the grandchildren. When the grandchildren inherit, they put it on the market because they want to continue their life in Villamora with their BMW in their apartment. So it is quite interesting.
And a very, very different lifestyle then to Villamora, for example, and Lisbon. Can we put Pedrógão Grande on the map? How far are we from Spain, from an airport, from the capital? How would you place it in national terms?
It's 40 minutes to Coimbra, which is the big one in the area, if you like. So if you want to go to shopping centres and cinemas and the Apple store and stuff like that, it's about 40 minutes away. It's pretty much equidistant to Lisbon and Porto airports, which is under 2 hours.
Okay.
I think about an hour and 45 minutes. So that's, you wouldn't commute from here to the airport, but it's not like a 5-hour hike up to Chaves or something. So to the coast, it's due inland from Figueira da Foz, which is a fantastic, almost Portuguese resort. I mean, there are estrangeiros there, but it's just a wonderful beach town. That's about from here to under an hour due west.
Okay.
So that's a fun day trip that I do 2 or 3 times a year, just to get some view of the beach. So that's probably on across to Spain. Castelo Branco is about 45 minutes, and Spain is probably Castelo Branco to Spain. The road sort of runs out, doesn't it? So maybe the same again.
Mm-hmm.
Probably at least an hour and a half, I'd say.
Okay, so I mean, truly central. This is proper central Portugal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's the western end of the Serra da Estrela.
Okay,
it's a sort of lozenge-shaped mountain range in the middle of Portugal, and the western end, the weather is milder. It's not as extreme as over in the east. That's more sort of Spanish. It's far hotter in the summer and less populated and poorer for agriculture. And this end is more forest and stream and arable, and historically a lot more cattle. It's more forestry now, but it's just a more Atlantic climate here than the Spanish end. So it's very pleasant.
Very beautiful. You look great framed against the converging perspective of the streets there, of the buildings. Great.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, these are the really old streets. These are on the medieval footprint along here.
Well, Paul, thank you very much indeed. If you want to find out more about what Paul's doing in central Portugal, rural-properties.com. Casa Adelina has been sold. I know we've got a fan club for that beautiful renovation project. Others are coming up in the area. If you take a look, you'll see as well, and a new project, particularly in this town as well, that Paul passed by earlier on. The windows are going in soon. Paul, anything else you want to tell us in conclusion before we? I'm going to take a look at the news and the weather now.
No, it's just the year started well. Just before the new year, we sold a property in Sertar, a spare property we bought as part of a package. Then Adelina's, we've taken the deposit on Adelina, so doing some work. So the year has started off with a burst, if you like, and we're just launching this week. We're launching a new investment package this week for people who want to invest. So that has to be to only the people on our investment list, but you can join that by going to the website and just clicking and joining up putting
All right.
yourself on. So that's quite exciting. I can't legally say more about that because it's a private placement. So it's a private bond.
Okay.
No, I can't. Seriously,
Remember, no, I won't probe you on that. I won't push you on that. But suffice to say, get involved at rural-properties.
Stock market regulator is pretty strict on what I can and can't do. And what we can do is make an investment offer to the people that are already in contact with us. So that's
fair enough.
600 odd that are on our investment list.
Well,
So,
thank goodness for regulation when it comes to investment.
But I can't go public. I can't suggest to widows and orphans that they invest in rural properties, but I can to people that know what we're about.
Very good, very good. Join them at rural-properties.com. Paul, thank you very much for that tour. Perhaps you'll do another for us next time we see you. I really love it. And I've created a special screen here that makes you much bigger on the visual so that people can see what's going on. We did that on the fly this morning. So thanks, Paul. Have a great day. I hope it does brighten up for you and gets a bit drier and sunnier over there in Pedrógão Grande. Thanks very much indeed.
Okay.
Cheers, Paul. All right, all the best. Have a good one. Bon dia, ciao, ciao. Wasn't that great? A trip around Pedrógão Grande there. Do get involved at all the W's, rural-properties.com. Thanks, Coach, for popping in. And everyone else who's been here this morning. That's probably how San Martino de Porto looks behind me there on the green screen. Let's take a look at the weather then. Let's see if it will brighten up in Central. And a quick look at the news pages. Let's go to the virtual front page of the Portugal Resident in just a moment.